So the last tutorial for today will be about how to implement call centers, inbound call centers, with OpenSIPS. So basically, it's about controlling call queuing. So as I said when talking about 1.11, where this call center module was introduced, this is a pure signaling call center. So it's taking care of the calls only at the SIP level. You need an external media server, or at least an application that is able to do RTP injection, because at a certain point, even RTP proxy can do RTP injection. So we need first something to do to generate the RTP, and then OpenSIPS will take care of everything when it comes to the part with the SIP signaling. The call center part is just the only the server side, so controlling and distributing the calls, assigning to agents and so on. Doesn't bring anything related to any kind of a tool related to the agent, like nice desktops, tools to supervise agents and so on. So it's just a tool for queuing and distributing the calls. And it wants to be a carrier grade like queuing, being able to support thousands of agents and tens of thousands of concurrent calls, queues, and everything like that. So it's everything is big scale about that. That was the intention, to have a single engine to do the queuing for the signaling, and then to be able to scale the media for this, let's say, for these numbers of calls. You can actually have a cluster of media servers behind doing all the dirty work for the media. So it's at the end, it's a perfect solution to scale and grow the call centers, especially if you want to do a geo-distributed setup. So everybody starts with call centers like that, probably with, say, one Asterisk box or whatever, and if you start using OpenSIPS, you can get to something like this in size of your call center. How it works as a very simple diagram. We have the inbound calls, which you may receive via DIDs or whatever. So the idea is get them as SIP calls. They get into OpenSIPS depending on the dialed number or whatever logic you have there. You figure out what's the queue or the flow, because you can have multiple flows in the same time in OpenSIPS. So you figure out which one to use. You can use a front-end IVR, for example, or you can simply use a DID, like you have a number for customer support, a number for simple information, another one for emergencies and so on. Or typical, like most of the mobile operators do have, you can have an IVR. Press 1 if you want to, if you have a problem with your credit card, or press 2 if you have a problem about your balance, and so on. So which flow is used you can rely either on IVR or either on the ID or whatever logic. The idea is from the OpenSIPS script you have to decide and push to the call center engine which flow you want to be used.
Can this Can this be used for a queuing feature? Just like if you have a hosted PBX, so you have hundreds of thousands, you know, customers, right? And then can you use this for a queuing feature to give queue?
Yes, you can do that, and let's say the beauty of it is everything being DB controlled, you can dynamically create as many flows as you want, or queues. We call flows, but they are exactly the same as the queue itself. So you can create them on the flow, let's say one PBX, or you can integrate it even with the virtual PBX platform.
So would it be possible, I don't know if you're going to go into this in a few slides time, but to have a call coming in, go straight to an IVR, press 1 for customer support, and then come back into OpenSIPS into a queue for the customer support department?
There is, I don't have the actual code scripted for that, but yes, it's possible.
Is that what it's designed for? Is that the purpose?
In most of the cases, to be honest, I'm more like using based on the IDs, you know, separate the IDs for different services or for different queues.
Yeah.
But you can do also, it's quite easy to do the integration with an IVR, so to put an IVR in front. And okay, once the IVR selected the flow, you can push the call again into OpenSIPS, probably having, you know, the selected flow into the request URI. Or you can imagine even more crazier things, like actually to avoid keeping the call through the IVR, to have the IVR hanging up, sending in the by header with what was the selection, and then using the back-to-back to push it into the call center, so to bypass the IVR for the rest of the call. So they are quite, can have quite some options how to do that. Then you need the media server for playing announcements or for actually injecting the music on hold, so while the call is on the queue. And then from signaling, the OpenSIPS will be responsible for distributing the calls to agents. An agent is basically a CPRI from the OpenSIPS perspective, so you say, okay, send it there and there and there. So just going a bit through the entities as understood by the call center module, we have the queues or the flows. Each flow requires a skill. The skill it's used for mapping the flows with an agent. The flow requires a skill, and you'll see later the agents may provide a set of skills, so that makes it possible for an agent to serve in the same time multiple flows. So the mapping is automatically done by the system by these kind of skills. They can be whatever you define your own skills. The idea is just to match when you define the flow versus what you define for the agents.
Can it match on more than one skill being present? So much so you've got like
the skill requires only one. The flow requires only one skill, but an agent can provide a list of them. Then each flow has a priority, and this priority works in relation with the other flows. For example, an agent can, let's say, serve in the same time two flows, one for customer support and the other one for generic information. And of course, the customer support will have a higher priority. That queue will have a higher priority rather than the generic information one. So all the calls received on the queue with the customer support will be delivered to the agent before the ones for the generic information. So you can control, when you have multiple flows, you can control the order between the flows when it comes to delivering the calls to the agents. Then you have the announcements and the music on hold, so basically the media-related configuration for the flow. And there is an optionally you can have an identification string. Actually, it's a prefix that is added into the display part of the from call. So when actually the agents receive the call, it sees as a prefix an identification of the flow, so to know exactly what kind of a call receives, because it may receive calls from multiple flows at the same time. So aside the real caller ID, it gets a prefix indicating, okay, that's customer support, or that's emergency, or that's whatever. So you can do something like that. Another entity, of course, it's the agent, and as I said, it offers a set of skills for mapping with the flows. Then it has the SIP location, where to receive the call. And we said in the beginning that everything we have in the call center is server side. But on the agent side, you don't have anything else, besides actual SIP location. But in some cases, it's a good strategy to have a local PBX next to the agent in order to offer all the class 5 call center related features, like if you want to do like call barging or supervisor mode or recording or whatever. So features like that can be provided by a local PBX. An agent can have a login state which can be on or off. So you can provision agents into the system, and then depending on whatever logic, you can activate or deactivate the agent. How to do that? The system actually provides you 2 ways of doing. You can control them from outside via management interface. So you can trigger based on whatever, from running an MI command to log in or log off the agent, or you can the same capability, the same functionality. You can do it from the script. So there is a script function that you can trigger, like log in or log out agent, and you can do it for, in some cases, automatically on registration. So when the agent's phone registers, automatically logs in you can log in the agent into the call center. Just keep in mind that logging in or out the agent is completely unrelated to the registration. So 2 separate things. Of course, you can connect them at the script level, but it's not the same thing. The call center module produces CDR, automatically CDRs for all the calls going through. So it doesn't require the typical accounting module to generate the CDR by itself, because it has an extended format for the CDRs to cover everything what's call center related, like what was the used flow, who was the agent, and different information about the call, like what was the waiting time in the queue, what was the pickup time from the agent, and other kind of things like that. And in certain cases, you may have multiple CDRs from the same, let's say, logical call, because the system logs what we call sometimes the so-called missed calls. For example, call is sent to agent 1, or whatever reason agent 1 doesn't want to pick up or rejects the call. So the system the call will be redirected to another agent or put back in the queue if there is no available. But this event of first it being sent to agent 1, trying to deliver it to agent 1, will be logged also as a CDR, so you can see exactly all the attempts that were made for that call. So just to understand correctly, it's not like trying to find a free agent, because the system keeps the state of the agents, internally. But sometimes it may happen that even if the agent is free, it's not to pick up the phone for whatever reasons. It may happen. So the system, let's say, it's able to cope with such situations.
when it sends the calls to the agents, can it use different strategies, like a parallel for and then a round robin of the agent that has answered the least calls, or will it just, you know, if there's 5 agents that are available to take a call, is it?
Yeah, it's let's say it keeps internally when the agent hanged up the last call. So it will send new calls to the agents, to the free agents with the longest idle time, if I can say so. Because agent, once hanging up, first it has a wrap-up time. You can define it into the module.
Yeah.
Okay, that's still agent unavailable, but once it goes into the free state, it will get the agent with the longest idle time since the previous call.
And is that different strategies available?
No, that's the only one at the moment.
Yeah. So if you've got somebody that's in the queue and a call sitting in the queue, and all the agents log off while it's in the queue, what happens to that call?
Let me think. Yeah, that's a good question. At some point, we had an option, what was called dissuading option for the calls, and it could be controlled in 2 ways. First, when the calls comes in, it calculates an estimated waiting time based on how many calls are in the queue, what was the average call duration, how many agents, how many agents you have in total. So trying to figure out how much time you spend in the queue, and if it's above a threshold, it will simply play a dissuading messaging saying, okay, we are too busy, we cannot take the call for you, and we better call later. I mean, don't bother putting the call in the queue. Also, the second option was if the call, for whatever reason, spent too much time, like after 10 minutes, and it wasn't delivered to an agent, you can get again this dissuading message, so it will automatically drop you off from the queue instead of keeping you forever.
Okay. So it'll probably, what you're saying is it'll probably trigger something like that.
Yeah, to kick you out after some time. Because if originally there is no agent into the queue, it will not consider that okay, automatically it will not even put one home or anything. It will consider that the flow is closed, and it will not accept any kind of calls until there is at least one available agent.
So you're saying that if I'm in the queue and the agent logs out, then the only way to get back out is for that time interval to expire?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyhow, probably for let's say for a decent call center, you should wait and consume all the calls in the queue. I mean, you will not accept new calls, and you can control this from the script level. You can have you can check, let's say, some time intervals when let's say the call center is on, and only then send calls into the queue. But whatever landed in the queue should be consumed by the agents.
Gotcha.
At least that should be the normal service, of course. From the statistics perspective, the module actually offers a huge set of statistics, which can be global statistics per flow and per agent. And this per flow and per agent are dynamically created. So there is a fixed set of statistics for each flow and for agent, and they are duplicated for each of them. Giving you information like how many calls in total were, how many calls were dropped from the flow, how many were delivered, then what was the average call duration, what was the average waiting time in the queue, and stuff like that. What was the yeah, percentage in handling, like less than, let's see the demo, quite a large set of statistics provided by the module. Also, when it comes to controlling the module, we have for the agents, flows, and calls, you can list all of them to see the status via the management interface. Like to see the ongoing calls, to see how many calls you have in the queue, to see the status of the agents, if they are busy, if they are in a call, and so on and so on. So it's very easy to interface and see what's the status of the.
How often do those stats reset, or when do they reset?
Some of them do not reset. So there is via management interface you can do like a complete reset for all statistics.
Okay.
To say, yeah, okay, I want to start from 0, so it's 12 o'clock in midnight. I want to reset everything for the day, so you can do that. I said normally some of them are not resettable. For example, like average times and so on.
Right.
But if you do like via management interface, explicitly saying yes, I want to reset everything for the call center, yes, you can do that.
Can you choose which queues to reset, or you have to reset everything?
No, it's global, like resetting everything.
Okay.
Because that will affect the global variables, the global statistics, which means covering everything.
Right.
Basically, it makes no sense at that point. You have to either reset either. Now, if we look at the call flow to the call center, we said that choosing the flow, you can do it via the ID, and here you can use quite easily the dynamic routing module. So to match the DID and push then a specific name for the queue, for the flow. Or, as we were talking before, by simply using a front IVR to decide which flow you want to use. Once you have the flow, you invoke the function into the script. That's more or less the only parameter that you have to pass. Push the call into this flow, and that's it. The function return false into the script if, okay, the flow doesn't exist, or if the flow is closed. Closed meaning there is no agent logged for that flow, so basically it makes no sense to queue the call. If the function returns successful, then you are done at the script level. You don't have to do anything anymore from the script. Internally, OpenSIPS will handle from that point further the call, like switching between announcements, queuing, agents, and so on. So you don't have to handle anything at script level. So once the flow is selected, if defined, you have an announcement, which can be like a welcome or whatever you want over there. So be an announcement plate, and then it will try to deliver the call to, based on the skill, to an agent. And if there is no available agent, of course, to be sent to the queue for playing music or kind of music on call. And of course, if when new agents are available, like new agents logged in or agents getting out of the wrap-up time and becoming available, calls are taken out from the queue, respecting the priority of the flows, and delivered to the agent. When an agent is selected to handle the call, it's sent to the CPURL of the agent. Of course, we handle the case where the call is not actually picked up by the agent and putting back the call on the queue or sending it to a different agent. To help the agent to identify which is the flow which he's receiving the call through, we already said about the tag in the display that is added. And for all these kind of features, you can locally install, let's say, PBX to enhance, let's say, the agent experience.
So I have one question.
Yeah.
So, a lot of customer call centers, you call in, they say, oh, and punch in your account number, or they ask some information. Can this be linked with something like that, or do something like that?
That's why I was asking before, can you go into an IVR first? So
yeah, but that's a bit of a difference. Typically with an IVR, let's say you select options, Ali is saying about like providing input.
Yeah.
But at the end, you may say that, yeah, okay, with the input things, yeah, you can put an IVR in front to collect such like a first step, to collect some information. The problem with an input is how you make this input to go all the way to the agent, right? With the selection, okay, selecting a flow and that's it. You don't need to pass anything extra to the agent, but with the input, you can attach it as an extra header to the call, but then you have, okay, let's say something on the agent side, something to be able to pick up that information and to display it or whatever.
Well, the agents usually have like a CRM application running, so you should somehow be able to link it with that. It says, okay, the call came in, this is the customer's profile.
Yeah, that's, let's say that's something that we do not cover, I mean, the agent side, these kind of tools, because there are many of them, and it's a bit outside our area. We wanted more to focus on the actual queuing and delivering the calls, because at the end, yes, there is a quite...
you can use the event interface to do this, right? When the call is answered, generate an event.
There are many ways. I mean, you can also, before sending the call to the agent, you can dump data into the database and have something on the agent side to fetch it when receiving the call, or you can do it to the event, or you can put it in the SIP package, or there are options. The idea is just to have the possibility to see what are the possibilities on the agent side, so to be able to interface with that. But fortunately, there are options.
Another question, sorry. How would integration with another PBX system work if all the agents were registered with OpenSIPS, the registrar, and then they were logged in to the queues on OpenSIPS?
I saw like let's say two options for like how to connect the agents into the call center. So either they do simple register, so there is nothing between, not a PBX or so. Agent is a simple user who registered into OpenSIPS, and when they register, then automatically log in into the call center. And okay, there is no PBX stuff features in there. Or if you want to use an extra layer as a PBX between OpenSIPS and the agent, then the agent simply logs into the registers, sorry, into the PBX, and that's it. They don't register further with OpenSIPS, and the PBX is required to do the triggering via MI to tell OpenSIPS when the user is actually logged into the call center, or maybe you have another application to do that. So you have something to link when the user registers into the PBX, sending the MI command to OpenSIPS saying, okay, this agent is now available, logged in, so start sending calls. So you can see the PBX kind of a trunk in this case. Yeah. So all the agents have the same IP in the CPRI, but there's different usernames when you configure them into OpenSIPS.
So I guess that you're then limited by, say you chose FreeSwitch as the PBX, you're essentially limited by the number of registrations that FreeSwitch could hold.
That's for a box, because think about, you can have like hundreds of them in different places, all connected to the same queue. So you have one flow, one queue, and agents, let's say, clustered in certain PBXs. Because the idea with the PBX is not necessarily to be everybody in a big happy family, but just to, let's say, maybe you have a supervisor for a group who's responsible for watching the activity of and helping eventually the agents. And in that case, it's a limited group, so the single PBX should be enough for something like that. There is no need to have, let's say, a supervisor for like 10,000 agents. Okay, so right now I will show you using the OpenSIPS control panel, the configuration, how you provision the call center, and then using the CPP I'll make some calls to the call centers, and then we can watch statistics and how it's okay. So that's the call center tool we have in the control panel. And first we have okay, let's start with the flow. That's the definition of the queues. So you have an ID, priority, the skill. You have this pretend caller ID that you want to be passed to the agent, and the welcome message and the queue message, both of them are SIP IVRs. The welcome is optional. If it's not there, it will simply skip it. And you see the queue message, it's just an SIP IVR, and it will expect that SIP IVR will never hang up. For example, you can do that with an infinite loop in Asterisk, so to play over again the same and the same and the same message, because you will have, in this case, for the queue, you will have OpenSIPS controlling and deciding when to hang up on that kind of queuing, so to actually fetch the call back from the PBX.
Is that the music on hold or the periodic announcements?
Sorry?
Is that the music on hold or the periodic announcements?
This one is for the queue is for the music on hold.
Okay.
So it doesn't collect any digits in the queuing section when it's listening to the queue message.
No.
It doesn't collect any digits.
No. So that's here we have like two flows, one info and the other one support, and I have here like 12 agents, and you can define a list of skills. So some of them do support, do serve both flows, others only the info. We have the SIP location and the login state, which can be directly provisioned into the database, or to have let's say a default one. But also you can change it after loading the data. Data is loaded and cached into memory. After that, you can change it via the MI command. So this is the provisioning part, which is quite simple. If and you go to the statistics, you have the call center. You see there are like 76 statistics. You have the CCF, comes from the call center flows. So these are the per flow, and you see all of them are ending with info, which is the name of the flow, and then there are also the support. So that's the standard naming. That's actually the name of the variable, the statistic, and then you have the suffix, the name of the flow. So these are the per flow statistic. You have the incoming calls, distributed, answered, abandoned, how many are on hold, queued, estimated time to wait, average waiting, the load, free agents, and so on. So quite a lot, many of them. Then you have the CCA, the call center agent, and the same, that's the name, and then that's the name of the statistic, and this suffix the name of the agent. And you see how many were distributed to the agent, how many were answered or abandoned for that agent, average talk time for agents, and so on.
So what does it mean, abandon? It's like no answer?
No, abandon when it's actually the caller gives up, so doesn't wait to have the call answered and just simply hang up at some point.
Is there a no answer timeout? Like if an agent doesn't answer for 30 seconds, you go to the next agent?
Yeah, but that's let's say that's configurable. It's basically the timeout in the transaction module. You don't have to configure it here. It's directly into the script. You can decide if you want to do the same for all of them or whatever.
Where was that screen?
Sorry?
I didn't see how you got to that screen. The option in the control panel.
To this one or
It's what?
to this one or which one? Which option?
To this one. Where was that?
It's the statistics monitor.
Yeah.
And you have the real-time statistics, and it's per module, and you have this call center
Okay,
stuff.
that's one.
And here somewhere you have the CCG, the call center global variables, which are actually a collection for the old flow, for MORS over the old flow. So it's aggregating information from old flows about calls and also about how many agents are free, how many calls are, and so on and so on.
How can I get the per date statistic? Let's say for a specific week, for a specific day.
Well, for example, we do it here because you have like you can do what we do in the control panel. We sample at like 1 minute, 1 second. It's up to you to define. You can sample this information because what we saw before, they were like real-time values. So you can sample, dump them into the database, and later, let's say, process the information, make reports or whatever. But that's a bit out of the scope of the module. You know, the module just provides the information. On what you want to do further with it, it's up to you. Here, that's the standard part of the control panel, just to do charting for the statistics. I enabled the charting for a couple of them just to see how they do change during some calling. So I have here a scenario with CPG. That's a call center. That's the caller. So I'm generating calls from here, and these two screens. This is the queue, and these are the agents. So it's a single CPP simulating all the agents. So let's. So I will start the agents and the queue. And then I will push some. So I can push like right now 100 calls with 4 calls per second. So just to see what happens. We have 12 agents into the system. 12 agents so long. So if I go here, we will see that 3 agents are 12. So they have 12 agents available right now. And also, if I do call center list agents, so that's I'm executing a MI command. That's the kind of information that you can get for each agent, like name, if it's logged in or not, and the actual state. Can be free, on call, and wrap-up time. And we have like listing the flows, 2 flows, and how many agents. You see they are automatically loaded based on to the flows based on the skills. All of them do have the info skill, and right now there is no ongoing call, but just to show you this. So we have 12 agents. Each call takes like 3 seconds. It's configured so to last for 3 seconds, and if I remember correctly, the wrap-up time is set to 1 second. You can configure that in the module. So basically, there are like each call should take like 4 seconds overall. So let me first. Preparing and opening all this, so to have them ready. Okay, so right now let's start. You can see right now calls are landing on the queue because agents are free, and if we go back and look, we can see information. That's the number of agents. Everybody's 0 free. Load on the call center is loading. Also the number of on-hold calls.
Is the queue just the message URL, SIP URL?
Sorry?
Is the queue SIP just the on-hold music SIP URI being called?
It doesn't actually broadcast any kind of media right now.
Yeah, is in
yeah.
the SIP is when someone's in the queue, is that URI being called?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see that right now some agents are getting freed and also load probably calls are taken out. Yeah, so all the 100 calls were generated. I mean, they were started, and some of them, we still have like 42 minus 24 calls into the queue. So some calls are still in the queue. We can check also into the, let's say. Some of them are in wrap-up, a couple of them are we just got them between calls, so are in free state. We can see the list of the queued calls. I think it's here. Yeah, all of them. Okay, the queue is actually empty right now, so all of them were dispatched. And all of them were received here on the agent, agent side. And
why does it say 42?
1 second. You see that during the run, the average waiting time was increasing because we had we generated a lot of calls in the very beginning. Spikes actually represents the wrap-up time for the agents, and the load in the call center. Actually, this load is calculated like the number of agents comparing the number of calls on hold and the average duration for the calls, and this really shows you the number of calls in the queue. Yep.
So you had 42 calls in the queue?
Yeah.
Oh, it's because some of them were answered right away?
Yeah, there were like available agents, and if there are available agents, the first calls were directly sent to to the agent, so not all of them landed into the queue. So that's why I have only 42 over there.
So when they go to the queue, they just hear the music, right?
Yeah, they hear the music, and then it's you see, if you look at the scenario, the queue is the one expecting to receive the byte. It's not generating the byte, so the call center module, the back-to-back, because it relies on the OpenSIPS back-to-back, will be the one sending the byte to the queue when it needs to get fetch the call from the queue and send the call to the agent. Questions? Before, let me show you the script. It's actually very, very simple. This is the OpenSIPS default config file. So what's actually required the MySQL backend? I need the back-to-back support, so the back-to-back entities and logic. You have to load the call center scenario into the back-to-back. That's provided, and it's a fixed scenario. You don't have to change anything, you just have to load it, and that's it. And for the call center, you have two DB URLs. One is for the provisioning part, the other one is for the counting, so you can have different databases for this. And you can configure, in this case, wrap-up time for the
So what's the back-to-back entities in logic?
Sorry, these are the back-to-back modules into
User agent? Back-to-back user agent?
Yeah.
Why do you need back-to-back user?
Because the call center relies on the back-to-back in order to, let's say, to control the call, because it's received the call, then it's sent to the, let's say, to the announcement. When the announcement ends, it will send the call to the, let's say, maybe to the queue, then to the agent, and so on. So basically, it acts as a back-to-back without hanging up on the caller or without any change on the caller side. So it's not a proxy; it's doing the back-to-back stuff here. So, and in the script, so this is the default script. The only thing that was in order to enable the call center, it's this one. If it's an original invite, I do call center handle call. That's the name of the flow that I want to be used, and that's it. So that's the whole thing that I have to do in the config file. It's peanuts. The OpenSIPS will do everything else for you. Of course, here in front you can do, like, if you want to do this, let's say if you have the IDs, you can detect with the dynamic routing the DID and take the name of the flow via a variable and push it to this function. But okay, that's a completely different story. But,
So where it says info, you can use an ADD variable there?
Any variable, not only a variable. Yeah, so you can pass it through a variable that you can take, you can load it from the database, you can grab it via a dial plan, via whatever you want.
Could you call a back-to-back user agent scenario further up to go into the IVR to capture the account number, and then the IVR will send a buy, and then initiate the CC handle call on the back of the existing back-to-back user agent scenario?
Probably you'll have to do that with two OpenSIPS instances.
Yeah.
One for, let's say, doing the first. That you cannot do two back-to-back scenarios for the same call, right? So first IVR and then the one by done by the call center here,
Yeah.
right? So probably you have to use one instance to get the calls from the gateway and send it to the IVR, and then when the IVR is done, to get the digit and send it to the second instance of OpenSIPS, which is actually doing the call center stuff. And here you can, looking at the output of the IVR, you can choose the flow.
Can you not do it included into the welcome message? You know how you had a welcome message and a music and hold? At the welcome message, you're sending the call to another destination.
The welcome
right?
message is, by definition, it's something that is played, and then the media server hangs up when the welcome is done. It's not providing any
It would
kind
be
of feedback.
similar, like you go to welcome center, welcome message, that media gateway, and then they punch in some digits, and then when
Well,
the
if
media
you
gateway
got
sends-
to the welcome message, because the welcome message is per flow, so you assume that you only know the flow, so you cannot detect the flow during the welcome message, which is defining the flow. So,
How about like getting the account number or things like that?
sorry?
How about like getting
for
the
that
account
kind of
number?
information.
Probably there at the welcome
Well,
message,
from,
you can put it on the
yeah,
database.
from the OpenSIPS perspective, this welcome message is sent. It sends a call to the media server. The media server does whatever, playing. It can do DTMF detection, whatever. It's not our business. But at some point, the media server has to send a byte saying, okay, this welcome message is done. It sends a byte. So that's what OpenSIPS cares about. We send a call to the media server, and after some time, the media server will have to byte.
So it's just a standard back-to-back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could do your big IVR.
Yeah, that you can, yeah. But in that case, you have to put the information somewhere else, probably in a database or
Yeah.
whatever, because you have no way to send it back to the OpenSIPS in this case.
Deployment.
Sorry?
Deployment seems to contain what is
Well, you can. The back-to-back has the route to, there is a route to capture all the back-to-back related requests. So basically, you could look into the byte, dump it somewhere. So it's quite trivial to use the call center, and not so complicated to provision, not to mention using it. So, questions? Any other questions? Yes.
I think one of your slides included the fact that some announcements could be injected. Were you saying that OpenSIPS would inject those announcements, or the media server would have his announcement through the music on hold?
Okay, there is the announcements, and then the music on hold. So there are two different things.
Okay, so you have a welcome
The
message,
announcement, yeah, it's,
music
for
on hold.
it's a kind of a welcome announcement, and the music on hold is for the queuing part, so wherever the call land in the queue. And this welcome announcement is provided by the media server, like playing it, but OpenSIPS decides when to send the call on there or not.
Okay. And how about the announcements that, because one of your slides said announcements injected into, I think, was it the music on hold or something like that?
No, it was and, let me check.
I think the question is if you can have announcements during the music on hold time.
Right.
Oh, so maybe
Would
announce
OpenSIPS
how
do
long.
it, and then would you
Yeah.
have to handle it through the music
So-
on hold?
You said here announcement and music on hold attached.
Right. I've seen injected somewhere, so I'm just going to go through.
Well, it's probably in the call flow.
Announcements injected.
Announcement is injected is defined.
Inside the flow, so you send the call to music on
No,
hold, I
inside
guess?
the flow it means okay when the flow is not necessarily only the queuing part. It's how the call should be handled, like priority, announcements, what music on hold should be used, and so on.
Okay. So whenever the call is sent to a media gateway for music on hold, then OpenSIPS will not inject announcement messages.
No.
It will be the media gateway's
Yeah,
job.
so whatever it's RTP, to be done by the media server. OpenSIPS is just sending the call to the media server saying, okay, now please play me the welcome, or please play me the music on hold right now.
Okay.
Right.
But it wouldn't take the call back from the music on hold and then send it back to like an announcement and then like send it back to the music on hold.
Yeah, I know what you mean. This feature it's not present. So right now, as time it's in the it's music on hold, it will grab it back only if there is a free agent.
Okay.
But it will not play announcement or anything else.
That's
You could inject media, couldn't you, if the music on hold was going to a PBX like free switch, you could inject an announcement yourself to party A or something.
Even let's say simpler, you can even if you send the call to the media on hold, you can put it through the RTP proxy, and with the RTP proxy you can control and inject from the RTP proxy some announcement. So you can periodically say, oh, please hold on, we are doing our best to answer your call. Just as an idea.
Call is important to us.
Yeah, sure.
Everyone's gone home.
Yes.
Please wait for the timer.
And from the OpenSIPS, does it provide any variables for the periodic estimated time?
Sorry,
For the estimated time? There are currently five users before you. The estimated time is 5 minutes.
The information is in there because it's displayed as a statistic, but it's not used right now. For example, when you have new calls, it's not really used. I mean, you could fetch it from the script, because in the script level you can fetch any kind of statistics provided by OpenSIPS, so you can explicitly check before sending the call into the So actually in the script over here, you can check what's the estimated time to wait for the info, and let's say if you have some threshold, you can simply decline or play some different announcement saying, send it to a media server saying, okay, please call later, or our agents are really, really busy right now. So you can do that at the script level. The call center itself, the agent doesn't offer something like that. It's, once again, the script is a quite powerful tool, so you can do some stuff directly over there. Yeah.
Are there any actions that you can do through the manager interface or management interface as far as calls that are waiting in a queue? As in, like, take one call that's waiting the queue out of the queue from the manager?
Yeah, you can terminate. So related to the call center, so you can log in or log off agents. You have listing for agents, listing for calls, for the flows, for the queue. You can do reload, reset statistics, and okay, you cannot not from the call center, but from the back-to-back. You have back-to-back terminate calls, so you can actually go to the back-to-back and say, okay, terminate these calls, and you can because when you list a call, you get the ID which you can use to terminate it. So if you want to, for whatever reasons, to get the call out from the queue, but that will completely terminate the call.
Would you be able to send it to another queue using the trigger scenario, like change the back-to-back scenario or something like that? If you didn't want to end the call right then.
Only if you put something in front, so the scenario which is used by the call center module should not be changed, because how the code is organized, like logic. I mean, state machine has everything into the code. It's relying on that particular back-to-back scenario. So if you change it, then you screw up everything into the logic, into the module, so it will not match anymore. But if you want to do something like that, you can put one more instance in front, you know, like the same with the IVR, you can put something in front to have another point of controlling the call. Okay, no, then thank you. And this was the last presentation for today, for this